President. We have requested bids and received bids from 5 firms on the next batch of roadways that DPW and I have proposed for improvement. These were streets where the portion of the design work had already been done in the with the funding that was provided in the bond of 2014. And when we went out for the RFP, I think I explained all of this, I guess perhaps to prior council, but because a good amount of that work was already done, we just kept moving it forward and picking the worst streets, and also trying to blend the lengths of road into the budget that becomes like trying to nail Jello to the wall a little bit. That you don't know what the bids will be until you get them in. But long and short of it is, we have sufficient funding in the DPW road resurfacing account to be able to fund all of this as the bids come in at almost over $800,000. But I'm advocating to you that we simply accept Miosi's base bid of $433,342.10 and alternate A in the amount of $125,165.54 for a total of $558,507.64. As the project goes forward, as you can tell from the contract we have, this is unit price work. We're working on the engineer's estimate, and this is the engineer that managed the last project that worked out quite well. So we have a high degree of confidence in the numbers, but we're also remaining aware that we could find things, particularly on Old Grade Road where there is rock potential that we will have to deal with. Not that we think we'll have to remove it, but we might have to raise the road grade to be able to stay out of it, frankly. And then there may be other drainage issues that come up, but we're hopeful that the alternate B will also be able to be added, that being for the $265,487.24. So my request is for you to authorize me to sign an agreement with T. Miosi Incorporated for $558,507.64.
We got the recommendation of the administrator to award to T. Miosi Incorporated a base bid amount of $433,350.10, alternate A in the amount of $125,165.54 for a total of $558,507.64. Is there a motion to approve? So moved. Motion by Mrs. Zelinski. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. O'Hara. Any other discussion?
I do have a question. On option B, it's in here that we're hoping Edward Ave will be done by the end of September, and this contract is saying the work needs to be completed by November 15. If Edward Ave is not ready.
Well, you're speaking to the extension. The extension does not involve this portion of Edward Avenue or Parkview. The extension would be New Road. It's in New Road. The sewer in Edward Avenue that would as sewer work in Edward Avenue that pertains to this contract is already completed.
Okay, so they can do that portion.
We expect it. What has to happen before that can happen is the DPW has some drainage work to do in those 2 streets, and the water department also has some connection work that it wants to improve, and I believe a couple of hydrants that they want to relocate to optimize service in those.
Before they pay.
Before they pay, exactly.
And as far as this notice of award, are those dates correct? June 13th? Shouldn't it be May today?
I'm sorry. Yes, it's a typo on my part.
It's in two areas.
Yeah, we'll correct that, obviously.
There and there.
Not here.
It is
Oh,
there.
yeah.
It is. Thank you, Councilman.
I did read it all.
I did too.
So now to the question, so on the Edwards Ave, where there's a question of there's an asbestos pipe, so they have to be careful of compacting as they go. Was
Yes.
that a concern when we were drilling over there? Or blasting, whatever we were doing?
Well, they were chipping, yes, it was a concern, but nothing happened to it. The bid specification does include a requirement that they use caution in working around that pipe. What that will likely result is that they won't use the vibrator on the machine, on the roller, when they are over that pipe.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mrs. Vadenais?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara? Mr. Oshia?
Yes.
Mr. Zalinski?
Yes.
Mr. Vadenais?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next item, discussion by council or other action on Branch Village redevelopment-traffic analysis update. Mr. Kravitz.
Yeah, this will be very brief. For the benefit of the, Carl, if you could focus the video on the screen for the public who may not be here. Back in 2007, you can see the report there, the cover sheet to it, the Branch Village Revitalization Report, with which I'm sure the council is familiar, and resulted in a redevelopment district in the area of Branch Village. You can see it there, outlined in black. And it has a very ambitious program that includes a lot of mixed uses, residential uses. You can see Vadenais there in the center. This is some of the architectural visions that O'Hearn had come up with at the time. There's even an office park component to the south. All of this is going to result in increased traffic. So you were right to allow the administration to purchase services by way of traffic analysis. We did that first with CDR McGuire, and we conceptualized, you can see the blue line on the drawing here is a new access road that would be notched into the hillside up and around and feed the area from the south. And of course, you have the existing ramp system here, which could be relocated to the west slightly without changing the point of entry to 146. That's critical. That's one of the reasons that the state DOT conceptually approved the idea to do this, to allow the new driveway to work with the existing ramp system to facilitate traffic in a manner that's efficient. So that was the first piece we did. The second piece is this traffic impact study, which you can see from the date on the bottom. It's April 2019. That's recently completed. And this analysis also corroborates the importance of putting in that new access drive to, again, not place all the burden of traffic on the Great Road. That's really critical. I actually, since preparing this PowerPoint briefly today, I looked at two of the figures in the analysis by McMahon. Essentially, if we're successful and you have full build-out with an office park in this area, you're looking at introducing about 529 trips northbound on that new roadway that we would be putting in the morning. That's a peak traffic analysis. And in the afternoon, again, just adding different figures where it looked at existing traffic flow and that proposed. At full build-out, you're looking at 536 trips exiting the new roadway. So that's a substantial, in terms of quantifying what's the impact, that's substantial to what we're not introducing to Great Road by trying to construct a new roadway. This is just a sample of the peak hour intersection analysis, and again, you can see that they're essentially looking at three intersections, but they're looking at the Pound Hill Road ramp in two different scenarios by way of turning movement.
Tom, could you explain the 146 northbound off-ramp? Because when I briefly looked at the
Yes.
proposal,
Right.
they want to put, how?
That's if you're on 146 north,
Yeah,
if you take the off-ramp
coming down.
to head down to Pound Hill and analyzing the movements there too.
Yeah.
So that's really all it is. It's interesting that one.
Can you go back to the plan you had that showed the proposed? Yes.
This one.
So I'm trying to follow this.
Yeah, so one of the analyses is to observe this
Yeah.
left and right off of this ramp, as well as in and out of the roadway, and onto the two access points, which if I go back, this is effectively, you can see it here too. This is the existing access point into the Branch Village. There's also this other driveway that they would utilize as well.
Which I don't know there was a little problem with that, I think, when they originally built that, and constructed that, but okay.
This is considered the southern one, this is considered the northern one.
Yeah, but I still want to go back, I mean, get back to 146 northbound exit ramp. So it would be a straight shot to continue, I mean, if someone,
Yes.
if someone's going to be heading west on Pound Hill, there's potential there for vehicle accidents.
West in this direction,
Yeah, I'll stop right there.
So they exit off
But
and
that's
then
getting back on the
entrance
highway.
on.
Yeah.
is
But see, the
directly
people are coming
across.
down, and people are going to, I take that exit every day. Now I've become very familiar with it now.
That's a very common intersection configuration.
Yeah, I know, but
Very, very common.
you know how common it is for the vehicles to be going anywhere near the posted speed limit on that road? Zilch.
They did look at crash data as well, so.
Yeah,
They looked at it, yeah.
all right. I mean, I like the idea of the proposal for the future access, and it just makes a lot of sense.
The last piece to this is, well, that was just a statement that I took from the report, which I pretty much already articulated the purpose, but the remaining, there are some tasks that they suggest we look at. Those are the three there bulleted. We don't yet have a cost for that, but we'll get one soon.
In a recent meeting, the President and I were criticized for not moving forward to improve revenue for the town. And I think that, one of the reasons for pointing this out tonight was we just got this traffic study. This initiative that began back in 2007 was toward the revitalization of Branch Village. Certainly there are benefits to that whole process as it relates to the existing streetscape and so forth in Branch Village. But the strong revenue opportunity that exists is in the vacant near 100 acres of land. And this work that you and we have undertaken is towards spurring that development, to make it possible for that million square feet, potentially 1 million square feet of some kind of business buildings. We don't know, whether they'll be in the configurations that are hypothesized on the PAR plans, or if it might be in one building by some entity that sees Northern Rhode Island along Route 146 within reach of Worcester and Boston, Providence as the right place to be, with a rail line, with utilities and such. But what we're seeing as this develops further is that without the access to 146, we started this because access to that land seemed to be the critical missing link. Well, what I think, if you take the time to read through the study, if you don't have this additional link, you wind up with a mess in Branch Village
Gridlock in downtown.
that already is quite busy
It's-
for all of us.
It's already,
And there will be some things that have done to improve that at the intersection of School and Great Road. But I think, this isn't just this is a win-win. I mean, if we can make it all happen and keep taking these steps. We have no intention of going forward and actually gaining a permit. That'll be expensive. We are hoping that the opportunity will present where somebody wants this land for development in a strong enough way to say, okay, you've proven that it's possible. We know that we can get a permit. We're ready to do that, and we have the money to make it happen. So that's what we're trying to do. We may be back to you soon with another request for a relatively small amount of money. And on the other hand, every dollar this year is a big dollar. But this is the kind of thing that we can't not do. We have to move this forward. as quickly and as deliberately as we can. We haven't been moving at light speed. We're trying to make sure that we get the right resources and to give them the time that they need to be able to evaluate carefully and come forward with ideas and suggestions that can get us to the end goal. So thank you for the support in this. We hope to be getting the report to DOT and the Federal Highway Administration, who would ask for the traffic study soon, and see what they need, such that we may come back with one or two of the things that the engineers presented, plus whatever Federal Highway and DOT might request.
Are there sewers in that area?
Yes, there's a force main that when you actually, right after the railroad bridge on 146, there's a road down to our lift station, pump station, one of our stations, that sewage flows from Slatersville and Forestdale by gravity to that point, and then has to be lifted and pumped up over the parallel to the railroad tracks, and then flow. So yes, we have our interceptor line flows right through it. And on the other side, in Great Road, we have the 12-inch water main from the side.
So we're lining things up to make it possible, potentially to make it attractive to somebody that go up there and build.
Exactly.
No, we don't need to take any action on this, right?
It's for information.
Just for update, thank you.
Welcome any questions anytime on it.
Mr. President. On the last slide, did you want to make a motion to authorize the town administrator to sign that contract?
Oh, with Afton?
No, the road resurfacing.
Oh, road resurfacing? No, we just made the motion that we approved all the money and stuff, so we need a motion to authorize the administrator to sign it.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Zelinski.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Vadenais.
Thanks, Deb.
Roll call vote.
Mrs. Vadenais?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara?
Yes.
Mr. Oshia?
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mr. Vadenais?
Yes. Next item is discussion by council vote or other action on budget schedule. I put that in there so that we can probably look at our calendar and get it all on the same page here. I did talk to the budget committee chair today. They are wrapping up their budget presentation of what they're going to be making a recommendation. They should have it ready the week of May 20th, whether it be Monday or Tuesday of that week. They should have it ready and be presenting it, giving it to the town. They're not going to present it to us at that point, but they're going to be giving it to the town. It's my hope and recommendation that we take that and put it on the town's website. Once we get it, as soon as we get it, we put it on the town's website so it's available to people who can see it. And then going forward, on June 3rd, the budget committee, on our regular meeting, will be here to present their budget to us. On June 10th, we would have a public hearing. Council will have a public hearing on that budget. They'll have been advertised in the paper because that's coming up now that we have to put out the administrator's recommended budget, and the tax rate will be advertised in the paper between now and then. So on the 10th, the only item on our agenda is a public hearing of the budget. I don't think we should commingle the budget with a regular meeting.
No, you're right.
So public hearing, it could take 30 minutes, it could take 3 hours. I don't know, but it's a standalone, separate item public hearing on the budget on the 10th. On the 17th, regular meeting, no action on the budget. The week of June 24th, I should say, that's when we set the budget. 2 consecutive days I want to put on the calendar. I don't like this thing where you're meeting at 11 o'clock at night trying to rush the budget through. So it gets at 10 o'clock, we stop, we come back the next night, and only because of the Open Meetings Act, I want to publish 2 days so we don't have to wait those 3 days. I've had the clerk check with the school department. All those dates are available. The whole last week is available. So I don't know what your pleasure is, the rest of the council, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, any of those days, but I just want 2 consecutive days. So that's really the update. That's my vision of how we want to do the budget process this year.
We should have some idea what the state's going to do at that point.
We should by then.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like really rushing it.
Yeah, well, I'm agreeing with it. So I'm okay with 24th, I'm, whatever everybody else wants to do.
I'm fine.
They should be okay.
You want to do it Monday, Tuesday of that week?
Yeah, fine.
What are the dates? June 24th and 25th.
June 10th will be a public hearing. Every Monday in June. And then
When's
Tuesday.
graduation?
Thursday, the 6th.
June 6th is graduation? So it doesn't that's why it was kind of amenable that people had conflicts this month, and we only had one meeting this month, as much as it jammed up an agenda, because I knew I wanted a lot of meetings in June for reasons. And then we go back to July, we probably only have one meeting in July, because we don't need that first meeting in July, so. So if everybody's on, yeah, we'll schedule it for the Monday and Tuesday. Okay, we know that the whole week was open, school was out by then, so it wasn't a conflict. That's the
Maybe
budget.
a bit late for the meeting on the 10th.
Huh?
Maybe a bit late for the meeting on the 10th.
On the 10th? Well, that's it for the budget schedule. Discussion by council vote or other action on award of bids for Conville Road Sewer Pump Station concrete build.
We're going to postpone that, table that for a month,
Table it to, you want it to the 3rd?
next meeting.
The 3rd, okay. Motion to table to the 3rd. Motion by Mrs. Zelinski, seconded by Mrs. O'Hara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next item, discussion